All right, there you go. There's some Gehenna live recently. So let's bring on the man who put this whole thing together for us. Let's bring Jeff onto the show. Everybody, welcome Jeff. What's up, Jeff?
Hey guys, thanks for joining us and blowing off Mother's Day to be here with us.
That's pretty fucking
Um,
cool.
we're really excited to have a special guest on the show today. He has quite a name in the underground. He was there since the beginning, and we're going to be talking all about that. But he's been on my show before, and now he's here live on the Witching Hour. So let's go ahead and bring him on. It is
Let's bring him on.
Svartalv.
There he is, everyone. Oh,
Good
Thanks for
evening, guys.
joining us.
thanks
Thank
for
you for having me.
coming on, man. All right, Jeff, you
Now,
lead the way here.
okay. Now, if you guys haven't already put it together, Svartalv was a founding member of the band. Well, yeah, effectively a founding member of Gehenna in the form that everybody knows. And then I went on to have a band that has been around for quite a while called Nocturnal Breed. And kind of made a name for you made a name for yourself separately through that. He's also appeared in the I guess the original live version, the first live version of Satyricon back in the 90s. So he has been at it for quite a while and again, quite a vaunted history. Now, when you and I talked and I interviewed you for my show, Metal Enema, Gehenna had not reformed yet. That was pretty significant. I remember you telling me kind of secretly after the fact that there was some discussion about that, but it hadn't happened yet. So now you guys are active again. You're going to be playing more shows. The next thing you're playing is next month. I can't believe it's almost here at
Oh, yeah.
the House of the Holy in Austria. So I guess tell us more about that if you want. I mean, Darkness Shall Rise has reeditioned all your albums with new liner notes and new information. How do you feel like it's being received?
Well, it's been received great. We had to keep repressing it, so I think that's probably one of the best kind of
That's a
hints
good
that.
sign. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good sign. So we're on third and fourth represses now, I think, and the
Wow.
job that Darkness Shall Rise put into it, the layouts and the information, the collecting of pictures and having like pre-interviews with the bands and stuff to put together this whole thing. Like even the inside of on the LPs, on the inside where you put the LP in, is even fucking printed in there, and that says something about
Wow.
dedication.
That's really nice. Wow.
So
Yeah,
yeah, no, that really made us. I don't know. It made the whole coming back together again feel very good. The response from people, uh, seeing kind of like our material put together like this, it kind of means a lot, and it added like this the feeling that you can kind of see on the live clips, and that we're gonna try to do now this summer on a handful of shows and stuff, because it just feels good to be able to go back into that uh, atmosphere and feeling, and it actually feels like it did, because that's one of those things.
Mm.
Like when I talked to Jeff some years ago, about this when it was still only on the discussion stages. I was afraid that you get into something like 30 years later and you have no idea what it's going to feel like. You know, are we just a bunch of AC/DC dads staring at each other at a rehearsal room? you know, is this like is the old magic there? And yeah, it absolutely is. It feels damn good to present these songs live. And personally, I think all four of us are doing it just for the personal reason of it. It's not for any money or fame or I want to tour every fucking day of the world or day of the year. No, it's not about that. It's just about this kind of occult personal experience, having it on stage, and I hope people can see that when we go to those festivals and stuff this summer. But it is a bit, we're gonna do stuff like Hellfest, and you don't know. It's in the middle of the day and it's all those things. So I'm not sure we're going to be able to
Mm.
present it as well as we want. But on certain other places, yes. And I think on House of the Holy, we will absolutely get to do that. And they had a tragic incident, yesterday or the
Yeah.
night before
Hmm.
with Bart, rest in peace, who he was killed in a car crash, from what I understand.
Yeah.
So
Damn.
I think especially that festival, which will be in a month or a month and a week or something. I think that will be special. That will be loaded, with it's already a pretty mystic, cool festival, and it will just add this extra whale, on top of it that will make it special. So, I'm glad that we can still come there and play and pay our tributes, and Gehenna is a soothing kind of backdrop music for such a somber kind of occasion too. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That occurred to me. I was thinking of that, going, gosh, it's going to be kind of a memorial of sorts, but a really powerful one. I mean, all the bands involved because of what happened to Barth and everything. But yeah, I think your material actually is really going to fit that well, because it has that somberness and that I don't know, that connection to just that esoteric dark that I think is, I don't know, there's like funeral doom, but I would almost say in like classic Gehenna is almost like funeral black metal. It has this very
That's a good.
funerary
Yeah.
quality
Yeah.
about it.
It's always kind of people talked about that kind of funeral kind of feeling about it. So, and when we were talking now, I was thinking like I'm so glad it's not Nocturnal Breed that is booked there, because that would be so
Yeah.
so fucking
Other
much
end of the
harder to
spectrum.
pull off
Yeah.
that that yippee hi kind of thrash metal from
Come on,
now.
motherfuckers!
Yeah,
Bang your
you just
fucking
can't
heads.
fucking
Yeah.
yeah. I much rather play, shivering voice of a ghost than screaming for a little bitch that evening.
Makes sense.
Having finally seen Gehenna, well, I saw the kind of the modern version of Gehenna before, but having finally seen the classic version with you guys at the show you played in Zwickau, of course, I realized that first of all, in case you guys are wondering out there, if you're fans, it's fully intact, as you saw in that video. The sound, the feeling, the atmosphere, it's all there. And I was lucky enough to see Gehenna play in a relatively small venue in Zwickau. That was a very kind of exclusive show you guys headlined. And it occurred to me that the thing that makes Gehenna stand apart, and we've talked about this before, when all of your peers in the Norwegian scene started feeling that pull of more exposure, more opportunity, more money, all those things, Gehenna never moved towards that in any real notable way. I mean, there's something about the band that is so dedicatedly cult and in the shadows. And now that you're back doing it, it's the same. I don't, like you said, you're not looking to make a bunch of money on it. You're doing it for yourselves. And that is apparent. And I think that's what sets you guys apart. You didn't go into the Matrix, you didn't get the sunglasses and the trench coats or whatever. And and my prediction, just speaking for myself, my prediction is you guys are, of course, the House of the Holy set's going to be something really special because of that really clandestine setting. But the idea of you playing at Hellfest, I mean, I hope it translates well, but I don't feel like it's going to be any different. I don't, you guys don't have Vakanitis where you're up there going, all right, everybody, come on, let me hear you cheer, I mean,
No, that ain't fucking happening.
That would be so bizarre.
Yeah.
Gehenna DIY.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's definitely not gonna happen. No, I think we're gonna. Yeah, I like the way the band is kind of like, I don't know, a bit in the shadows. It's okay. We don't have a massive internet presence or anything like that, but we were never interested in it either. We kept to ourselves even back in the early 90s. We weren't that fucking interested in like the kumbaya shit. And well, the other bands were much less interested in it too back then. So people were like, yeah, you met some people, you met some bands through a year, but it's not like now where it's some of those festivals, man. Holy shit, it's just like one big happy camp, and it's kind of weird.
Oh yeah, I've seen some. I'm not even going to name the fest, but there's one going on over there where they have all these panels now, and it's like so.
Oh,
It's,
Panels?
yeah,
yeah,
that one is pretty close to me, isn't it? That one.
yeah. This isn't this. This is one in Norway, and they have all
Like
these.
a comic book convention type
Yeah,
atmosphere or
yes,
something?
and it's
Wow, that's
very,
bizarre.
very social and very pro-social and very progressive in many
Oh, I know where
ways,
you're getting
and
at.
yeah, and it's
Some of
really
those they drank from the woke, cauldron as well. Some of those, and they had panels discussing, like, is black metal negative, and
yeah,
what the fuck are you even in this
yeah,
fucking scene? If you find black metal negative, it's supposed to be fucking hatred. It's not supposed to be like dicking around with like, oh, are you offended now? I am sorry. I heard
yeah,
someone here the other day. I'm not gonna say a name, but it was like a kind of famous black metal guy who was like in the middle of a sentence when he kind of blurts out like, well, not to offend anyone, but blah 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 blah. But it's like, really? Are black metal there where we are like, I'm sorry, I
Wow.
offended someone?
Apologizing up front for
Yeah,
being
yeah,
offensive,
yeah. Then,
and it's black metal.
and if you have to do that when you're talking about your own creative shit, to me, that it's a bit fucking weird. Like, rage on. Fuck it.
yeah. I I would offer. I feel like underground music in every style, upon its inception, was based on kind of that heedlessness and ignoring those rules and wanting to be apart from like social convention. And
Yeah.
I would,
Yeah, it's supposed to be a big middle finger to like normal stuff.
yeah,
Like yeah, that's
Yeah.
you think you think Slayer gave a fuck about what anybody thought of them?
the last thing they thought
Yeah.
of.
And this goes all the way back, like Twisted Sister, Metallica, Metal Up Your Ass. This
Yeah.
whole thing just keeps going all the way back to Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin and all those. They were
Yes.
looked upon as fucking morons by society, but still you just say fuck you and then go on. That's the whole fucking point.
Yep.
There's like the basis of the whole scene is that
Yeah.
thing. So, if you get too offended, well, I don't know. Check out REM or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, that maybe that is part of the problem. That, like, just people who shouldn't be into it are into it now. And
Yeah. And that's,
it was never meant to be for those type of
No.
people in the first place.
I feel like
No,
that's,
I liked
Go on.
it when it was fucking exclusive and it kind of radiated so much shit that people just stay the fuck away from it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was
Yeah.
scary and dangerous, and it was meant to be. Like
Yeah.
maniacs would get into this type of thing.
yeah. And you were, of course, kind of at ground zero when like the murders and the church burnings were occurring in Norway and started all that controversy. And I don't know, I would observe that people, now that we have all this hindsight, now we've had books and movies about the subject and it's been talked to death. There's so many people who in hindsight go, oh, that was ridiculous. Oh, a bunch of stupid kids. They were just being, idiots and burning down these pretty churches. And I still hold to this day. It's like, you can debate the architectural merits of these nice churches, but at the same time, there was a statement being made. It was being dangerous. It was a catalyst. And it was like a rejection of, I guess, just speaking for you guys, Norwegian society, I mean, what's your take on that?
Yeah. No, of course, I'm going to hell for this, but I kind of liked it.
I like that.
I like it still. It was a thing that happened that was so kind of, I don't know. Of course, like you say, you can look upon it in hindsight, like, oh, yeah, it's just a bunch of kids doing this and that and the other. But like the energy it put out, the effect it put out on the whole planet, it's pretty fucking massive. It's like millions of people were touched by this, and it has created like a whole thing that will never die after. And I just like the whole magic of that. I don't care what was this and that. Yes, some of the stuff, churches and stuff, holy fuck, they are so beautifully made and they're full of hedonistic symbols because, the Vikings were forced into Christianity. But still, the rage and the chaos and the fuck you-ness that came out of it. I tap into it still when I do these things. When I go up on that stage, I have this thing inside me that just fucking hates all of this shit still. I can't help it. Sure I'm going to hell for it, but you know, I'll play a show there too.
It's where all the good bands would be. Yeah.
Yeah.
No kidding. Like, what good bands are going to be up in heaven? Where are you
Yeah.
Well,
If
you're
you-
gonna be up there with Striper and a couple other bands like Petra and
Country music,
Striper. And, holy fuck, yeah, no, yeah, no, fuck that stuff. I just like that old thing. I think it's you can hear it in some of those bands who still can feel that thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's going through them, and even in newer bands who weren't even there, but you could pick up on that kind of essence that is there. And that's why, even though there's more than 50,000 metal albums that comes out every year, there's always some black metal albums that just kind of like rip a hole in the ether, and I like that.
Yeah.
Compared to several other genres that can't rip a hole in a fucking, plastic bag if they try.
Yeah, that's very true. Do you get, I haven't asked you this before, but do you get a lot of people approaching you trying to get you to pay attention to their bands, like, newer bands, younger kids? Are they trying to reach out and win your approval? I mean, you're really in the shadows, not the easiest person to find, but have you experienced more of that?
It was more up until like 2023 when I just turned off social medias and everything. Up until then, it was a lot, to the point where I had to continuously every day say no to stuff and kind of like, pick and choose who I kind of go through. There's some now as well. But of course, it's kind of more windy road to get to me.
Yeah.
which is okay, but I don't mind it at all. As long as some people get a bit too attached to, they send you some stuff and then they kind of expect you to hold their hand through a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like, yeah. But actually, a couple of weeks ago, I had a weekend where I had classes where I had about 50 kids. And they presented their bands. So it was me in a school room, the music room at school where they're rigged up with the drum kits and all the amps and stuff. And I think there were 6 bands, thrash metal, death metal, and something in between there. And they all came there. They were between 14, 15 and 17. And they presented their bands. They played one song and then we had a little talk and then they played one more song and everyone watched. Kind of giving me a little bit kind of like 80s vibe, although the bands were clapping and banging and, having fun. So that's kind of cool, to give them some pointers. And it was really cool to hear that there was kind of like, proper death metal going on up here in the woods, because I live in the fucking woods.
Yeah.
And it was, like, there were 3 bands actually doing their different takes on thrash metal with really kind of good ideas and sounded good and stuff. So yeah, no, it's cool to hear. But it's like we said, there's more than. I saw this study here this other day that said last year was about 54,000 metal albums that came out.
God,
so,
wow.
54. Wow.
Yeah. I can't fucking. When it's that much, I just forget everyone.
Yeah.
Instead, I can't pick out and say, yeah, I heard this great band, because I hear some good stuff here now and then. But I can't fucking remember who they are anymore. Maybe
I get
it's my
that
own
too.
brain. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I have to get recommendations from friends, like Jeff or other people I know. It's like just trying to go out and discover new bands is too draining.
Yeah.
Oh, it's hard, and to fit them into the bar has been set for all the different genres I like so long time ago that no matter who you are, if you play thrash metal, of course you're gonna fucking go up against Slayer and fucking old Metallica and Megadeth and whoever was there. It's hard to kind of squeeze them in and get the same feeling. Even though I can hear some stuff is like, this is really cool, but it's not my cool. It's not the cool that made me feel good back then.
Yeah, it's almost like it's just okay for kids now. Not that there's anything wrong with this, but it's like, if you weren't there for Hell Awaits, maybe this will inspire you because it's new and relevant to you. But to keep up with that is just insane.
Yeah,
too much.
I get more and more feeling that this, of course, because it's a typical kind of old grumpy guy attitude, to have the attitude I have that, oh, only the old stuff was good and all this kind of thing. But it's so fucking linked to your life and your experiences and the emotions you had through listening and discovering this music. Because that's, of course, not happening when you're 50 years old, So in the same way as when you had a cassette, and that fucking cassette you played to death going to school every day, and you lived through
Over
that
and
one
over.
cassette,
Yeah.
over and over. You read everything. You knew fucking the numbers on the barcode, even almost, So it's different. If I'm gonna do that now with a bunch of thousands of albums, holy fuck! I'm impressed with you guys who are doing podcasts and stuff. You can actually kind of keep up with these are the
Yeah.
20 best releases of 2025. I was fuck, I couldn't give you 5 names in because I had no idea. It's all fucking a blur and confused.
Yeah, and I get embarrassed because sometimes it's like you described. I'll hear something that I really like, and I will champion it. I'll even put it on my best of, and then I sometimes will like forget the fucking name of the band. Someone's trying to ask me about it. I'm like, which one are you talking about? Oh yeah.
That happens, dude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Who was that? What was that band
Yeah.
you played the other night? And I'll be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen with old bands,
No.
Yeah,
even
of
shit,
course.
Yeah.
even shit bands I don't want to know shit about, I know shit about.
Yeah. Well, so I have a question. We're talking about bands that were inspiring us in high school. Now, you joined Gehenna as a high schooler, and
Yeah.
I remember you're telling me about going to high school while being in the band. And of course, back then, black metal was not the primary cultural export of Norway yet. So did it almost feel like you were, I don't know, like Spider-Man or something, where you're like having you have a dual identity and people didn't know what you guys were doing?
Yeah, apart from that, we never took off the costumes, that we basically slept in that shit. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was completely like that. And in Stavanger, on the west coast, where we had Gehenna, which it was basically the Gehenna guys and a handful of other people. That was it. So people just looked at us like aliens, and you're basically allowed to do whatever the fuck you want. People just kept away. We could do our own thing. And it just made this beautiful distance between us and the others. So actually, I didn't mind that much, especially the 2 years I took high school at the end there in Gehenna. I didn't mind high school that much. We had our own thing. And I took this, I'm educated classical bookbinder, so I didn't really have classes, I had a big workshop and we were making books and using old books, and it's
Okay.
like a pretty cool thing. And our teacher was really cool, so we always had a cassette player there. So the class was 50% black metal people because we had a tiny class. So it was great just sitting there for a couple of years, listening to music, going to rehearsals every day, going from school, finding out some way to get some beers, and just heading for the woods and then to rehearsals. No, it was great. A little bit Spider-Man-ish, but I think other people looked at us more like, I don't know what they saw in us. They just didn't get it. It wasn't a thing yet. It wasn't like that much in the news yet or anything. So we were just fucking weird to them.
Yeah, they probably didn't know what to think. They're just like, I'm not gonna deal with that. Just let them do their thing. Yeah.
And you went to school with Garm from Over, or I'm not saying it right. I'm saying it so Americans will know what I'm saying, but Ulver, yeah. Ulver, yeah. Over. We say it like it's a gynecological term or something. But yeah, you said you went to school with him, and we're gonna play that famous song that you did. We'll have you tell that story in just a little bit. Didn't want to get ahead of ourselves, but so there was, you said there was a couple of other people floating around, like Carpathian Forest was up in that area too, right?
Yeah, but they lived just far enough away from us, so they kind of stuck to their area, which was like far out on the boonies and the beaches on the countryside. So they didn't mingle with us. We didn't mingle with them. They didn't go to our schools. We didn't go to their schools, and we had no contact with them, even though we were the only two bands in the 10-hour radius. Well, we had
Wow.
actually we had Phobia and then Enslaved just up the road, but back then you had to take a bunch of ferries and stuff to get to them. So
Mm.
I just remember them coming down to us once, I think, when they were doing this Slayer was it Jesus Saves cover that was recorded in the studio we used with Gehenna
Mm.
in '94, I think. But apart from that, no, there was no big contacts with anyone. We had a good death metal band called Agony that was hanging around with us, and no, that was about it.
Mm. Yeah, that I think it feels like that isolation really promoted a lot of all the bands sounded and felt different from each other back then, and I think I'm detecting it was partly just that social isolation. You couldn't just get to each other easily. There was no internet, yet to
No,
speak of.
and we had no fucking money. There was no
Yeah.
money in this, and
Hmm.
basically everyone in the scene said, "Well, fuck this," to kind of jobs and school and all kinds of things, and no one had anything. So if you want to go to Oslo and hang out with a band, you have to fucking scrape together for months, to have
Mm.
enough to do that. So all the band were kind of like secluded a bit in their own little way. Like Enslaved were kind of stuck where they were, and like Emperor they come from a place which is only like mountains and woods, and you can pretty much hear that, in the first albums there. They were
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
stuck in the woods, and good for them.
Yeah.
Very good.
Everybody always thinks that Oslo was this big hub for all you guys, and everybody's at Helvete going woohoo, just like hanging out all the time, and it really wasn't like that at all.
No, 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 no. It wasn't. Of course, you had like the little circle around Øystein and stuff, but it wasn't a place you came in and hey, let's meet up and just hang out and go kumbaya. It wasn't that fucking thing. You can go to Elm Street, the pub Elm Street that I'm sure a lot of people heard about, which is like Oslo's Rainbow in a way.
Yeah.
You can go there. You can go there and kind of like let loose a bit. Or we had a place called Lusa too. But it was a stricter code. You were called out if you were coming there like a fucking happy clown. That wouldn't stick. That wouldn't last. Yeah, you would just be called out of it. So, no, Helvete wasn't a great social place, and it wasn't a record shop full of albums. Øystein barely had fucking money to eat. So like half the albums is his shit that he needed to sell to get through the fucking day, and then there's the few albums he managed to import here and there, so you couldn't like be there and stand for hours and go through records and stuff. It wasn't anything like that.
Yeah. Again, I look at Nesseblad records now, and that place is. And Carl, I don't know if you're familiar, but it's the place that effectively took over the Helvete space, and it's Nesblad
Okay.
Records, and it's basically like a museum. I've been there, and they have tons and tons of stuff, but it's basically almost like a museum where you can buy things. Like, oh, hey, this is this first edition Mayhem record. It's $2,000, but but I realized
Taking
that.
advantage of the black metal tourism.
Oh yeah, the
situation.
Black Packers, as they call them.
Oh yeah.
But the thing that's interesting is going in there, going, this is what everybody thought Helvete was like, but it wasn't. It's just like what you're describing. Where it was
Yeah,
like
that's the image they make. It was like everybody, all the metalheads just hung out there, and
Yeah, no,
whatever, and did.
The building, the rooms, the black walls, some of the stuff that is hanging in there definitely has the Helvete vibe. And of course, if you go down into the black metal sprayed on the wall room and stuff like that, it's authentic. But no, fuck, Helvete didn't have like even 10% of all the albums Nesbro has. Holy fuck, they got so much albums and shit hanging. It's incredible.
Yeah.
But it's the best metal shop. Like if you're into this kind of extreme metal, it's, I would say, the best metal shop ever. You can find that weird ass fucking demo that you never thought you would find again, or like you say, the first press of any album. You get test presses and stage fucking gear, and even like proper old school stuff. Like it's probably been sold now, but I know they had like Schmear from Destructions, the leather jacket he had on the first albums.
Whoa!
Oh wow,
Man,
that is cool. Wow.
They had that
That's
fucking thing there, you know. That's like holy fuck. That's like the holy grail kind of thing for me. So
yeah.
So it goes way past the helvete thing, and it's just a part of it, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, we got Vasily from Ancient Spiritine Zine saying, "Hello, Svartalv, what's up, maniacs?" So
Hey,
he's in the
thanks for
chat
joining
today.
us.
Thanks,
Cool
Vasily.
zine.
Yeah, it's fucking rules.
Yeah, I'll never forget going to Nesplod. I know I'm not really saying it very well, but went in and whoever was at the counter, he's like, "Hey, you looking for something specific?" And I said, "Yeah, I don't know if you have it. I wanted to get the promo edition of Immortals Battles in the North before they had the white cover." And he goes, "Oh yeah," and he just points over his shoulder, and it's like sitting right there on the wall. So I just bought that off him immediately. I was like, Jesus Christ! They probably like 10 copies of that in the back too. It's like, okay, put another one up, you know. But
yeah, oh, it's you know, shit that never happen in that shop. So, you know, if people are out there looking for albums, you know, and you can just hit them up online and stuff too, and they got like endless amounts.
This is
okay,
a
so
question from.
yeah.
Let me ask this question real quick.
Yeah.
From JD, one of my friends. He goes, "What are your thoughts on fastcore and punk bands in Norway and Sweden?" Guess he's talking like fast, grindy stuff.
Yeah. Of course, for me, that kind of relates more back to the old days in Sweden. You know, the creation of death metal in a way. And then it kind of went more into kind of a hardcore. But for me, it's not a music kind of style that I really follow that much. I fall into the amoebics kind of old school of that kind of music. So, and what's going on with Norwegian and Swedish bands now when it comes to that style, I have no idea. One of the young guys that played for me here a couple of weeks ago, they had a bunch of genres on their music, but it was some kind of death grindcore kind of thing, and it kind of had that old spirit that for me comes from bands like Discharge and stuff. That really proper fuck you thing that if it mixes with death metal, it's pretty cool. But it's not a genre I know that much about to kind of like speak fluently about it.
Right on.
Cool. Thanks.
I getting back to Gehenna, I was thinking I actually was proud to say that I wrote some liner notes for, I guess it's going to be another like a cassette box edition from DSR of the material. And I wrote kind of a summary of you guys and what made you different. And the one thing about Gehenna was that you had such a completeness of aesthetic. You had your sound and your presentation, and it matched. Like when I hear your music and then I see pictures of you guys, it's exactly what I would have expected to see, especially with your really distinct paint. You know, you guys had like kind of the bat wing thing before anybody else was really doing that. And when I think of the division of your image between you as Destroyer in Nocturnal Breed and then as Svartalv in Gehenna, I was ruminating on that and going, now, how do you find your way to Svartalv when you're in Gehenna mode? Like, is that just you with paint on, or is there something else that you're digging into that like rises to the surface?
Actually, it's kind of weird because that through the years, it's ended up now that it's the Destroyer kind of character. I have to forcibly, in a way, kind of turn on and off and tap into my very kind of younger days. But the Svartalv personality is there in me always. And I think I actually realized that when I started to do the Gehenna stuff again, that this is the real me, to put it in a Blackie Lawless way. But it's not turning it on, it's letting it loose. If you know what I mean.
That's a good way.
It's more like just, okay, here you go. Come on, Mr. Hyde. So it's this Jekyll and Hyde thing. So the Svartalv thing is very comfortably living in me all the time, but I can crank it up and let the beast out in a way, which is very good, for mental balance and other things like that.
Yeah.
And that's
Oh
what it
yeah.
feels like too. It is I don't know. I think I said it to a couple of the guys in the band too, that after we did the first show at Beyond the Gates in Bergen, that one show was worth 1,000 therapy hours. It's like it just reset so many things. My whole Rubik's cube kind of came together again because of the personal feeling of just letting that Svartalv thing out. And through so many years, I just let that thing out on negative things. But now I can just take all that kind of negative stuff and just project it out.
What year did you leave Gehenna? Was it like 95, 96? Am I right?
Yeah, the summer, I think it was around June 95. So
Yeah.
just before they went in to record the Malice album. So I made some stuff for the Malice album and I rehearsed most of it with them. But suddenly I was on a train for Oslo.
Did you always feel like it was like a unfinished book? Or did you already feel like when you left it was completed? Or are you like there needs to be more of this?
No. I didn't know if I thought it needs to be more of this, but it felt unfinished in the sense that I just picked up and left. I never had any conversations with the guys, or I'm not even quite sure how they were noticed that I had kind of left. I don't remember. It's just like a big swirl.
Oh, so you left without even like letting anyone know? It was this like
Yeah.
I'm leaving and I'm not
Yeah,
there
I
anymore. Wow.
just remember kind of having like a mental spasm, and I went to a telephone booth and I called my dad and I got him to pick up all my stuff. And an hour later, I was on the train to Oslo, and I stopped halfway on that train and called a friend in Oslo who came and picked me up. So it was like there was no plan, there was no nothing. It was just like chaos unfolding. And of course, that leaves like this completely unfinished chapter, So it was very nice to kind of close that up and then go on some more, to have more good experiences within that kind of frame of those people. So that was great. But the whole thing about quitting and stuff, it's like a fucking blur. I don't know if I was. And there was some drugs and drinking and stuff too, So there was like just a lot of shit going on, and I had court cases, and that whole black metal chaos just kind of like brought me into this static fucking state of mind. So in my head, I thought that okay, I'll just go to Oslo and I'll find some kind of band who wants to kind of go further into the woods, further into the kind of dark necro music, But then I joined Satyricon, and that certainly wasn't the case, with Nemesis Divina.
Yeah, and I remember you talking to me about that. That's when you felt like black metal was like now falling off. Like you joined Satyricon for the Nemesis Divina cycle, and you went out on tour with them. And then I remember you telling me you suddenly felt like the magic was gone. Like you could feel it happening in real time.
Yeah.
So what was this like 96?
95, 96.
95, 96, okay.
96. Yeah, I played in Satyricon in 95, 96. So I spent that whole year cycle just rehearsing the Nemesis Divina album. And I started recording some songs. I don't know, half of it or something like that. But then my then wife, or my ex-wife, was arrested for 2 church burnings. And life just turned into a fucking chaos thing. So
A lot of chaos, yeah.
Yeah. So I just jumped on the tour bus and we went on the Nemesis Divina tour. And during that tour is when I kind of realized, both listening to the music that came out around us, but also looking at the fans, which was for all of us in Satyricon, it was the first time we had like a full exposure to the European fan base. And I don't know, some of the magic just went away. Because it was just blatantly obvious that, they were not on the same dark path that we thought,
So
in a way.
it's kind of the opposite of don't meet your idols, don't meet your fans. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was not, and I'm sure some people are gonna go like, oh fuck, I was there, but yeah, of course there were some cool people around and stuff, but yeah, it just dawned on us that this has kind of grown a bit out of proportions, and with the music that started to come around then and stuff, I think if people go to their record collections when it comes to basically a lot of extreme metal around 95, 96, especially 96, that's when shit started to change. And by 1997, you're starting to have a lot of, you know, latex pants boys and dreads and gonna be special. And, yeah.
Um, and you explained
Covenant
this
with a K or something like that.
Covenant with a K.
Covenant.
Yes.
I was like, whoa, what is this?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And you explained this to me, and I didn't know this at all until you told me these stories. Carl, you may not know this either. A lot of people probably don't know this if they weren't there. There were certain dates where Satir's girlfriend, Monica, the one who was in the Mother North video, would come out on stage naked, just like that. And that to me, I know they were trying to like live up to that whole that video, because that was like really a big deal at the time. But to mix the whole sex element with underground black metal, to me was it you know, we were talking about Wasp before we started. It felt more like something
that
like,
works for Wasp.
Yeah.
I don't expect that on the Shadow Throne, you know, like what is like it's a weird,
Yeah, that was kind of
concepts colliding.
Yeah, I thought you're probably right. With I think Satir probably just wanted to take, you know, the imagery from the video and put it on stage, and of course, he really wanted his girlfriend with him when he was out on tour. So I think they kind of mixed it up together. And yeah, for me, it wasn't. It was kind of like walking into Cradle of Filth district. So yeah. That didn't really help.
It's real Cradle of Filth. Yeah, that's a good.
Yeah, and
comparison.
you know, every other show we didn't have our own stage. Some of the shows, because the stage was just like, you know, 40 centimeters or, you know, a foot and a quarter or something, and people couldn't fucking tackle it. You know, you couldn't have this naked blonde woman, you know, in arm's length of a bunch of like fucking teenagers, you know. So yeah, no, that was kind of weird, but it's I hardly seen any pictures of it actually. So it's weird that no one actually grabbed the camera when those shows went on.
Yeah,
that is weird. I already knew that.
You sent me one photo, and that's the only photo I'd ever seen of that of her up with the band on stage. That was crazy to me.
Yeah.
Speaking,
but that was actually though one of the earliest black metal, straight up black metal tours, though, right?
It was
of that second wave stuff, and so
yeah. No, it's been one like big proper one before us. I think that was it Enslaved, Marduk, and Sadistic Execution?
Yes.
Yeah.
The Osmos thing.
Yeah, and then our thing kind of came after that. That was the two first like proper like full on kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
The Gorgoroth, like I seen the videos, you know, of that era, and that's like I thought they were going. I thought they were really good.
That's peak Gorgoroth, I would say.
Oh, they were so fucking good. They delivered like Goosebump every night. Same with Dissection as well. You know, there's no fucking mistakes. I can't remember one fucking evening I heard one single note being played wrong. It was just like full on fucking delivery. And the atmosphere, you know, and people being like, it was fucking different. This was new to people, you know. Some people got to see stuff they just like craved so badly to see. And it's, that whole kind of atmosphere there was, it's really cool. And like you say, Gorgoroth, just like, that's for me too. That's where Gorgoroth is total peak.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep track. How many shows since you've rejoined Gehenna? How many shows have you guys played together? It's only been like what, 3? 2. So 2. Wow. So it's Beyond the Gates and Zwickau. That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
Didn't
so like I said, we're not like over promoting ourselves.
Yeah. No. I was at the show in Zwickau, and that was when they were headlining. So I knew that Gehenna was going to mostly be appearing at fests, and I predicted that correctly. So I wanted to see them as an exclusive headliner and get to see the full set. For those of you who are fans or keeping track, you know, you guys played all the old material, and then I was really excited because you actually played. Didn't you play? You played 2 songs, or was it just one song from Malice?
I think it was only one song.
One song, but that was still really cool. The other thing, and if you don't mind me talking about this. When you guys got to Zwickau, all your bags, all your instruments, everything was lost. It didn't make it on the plane. And Scorn, famously of Catharsis and also Sepulchral Voiced Records, effectively provided all the guitars and everything, all the gear for you guys to play on.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. I mean, and I thought I was right up front and I thought it sounded great, but I know you guys were under a lot of pressure because of that. In hindsight, were you satisfied with how it came out? I mean, I felt like the audience was really satisfied.
Yeah, I know the audience was satisfied, and that's good for us to hear too. But we weren't satisfied at all. It was too much chaos, and like you said, like Lufthansa fucked up the whole thing, so none of our bags actually came. I had a little bit of my stage equipment, like the dress and the stuff, like the shirt I have on and stuff, but we basically played. It feels like a bit playing blind. You don't have the shit you're gonna have on. You don't have your instrument. And at the same time, the venue was kind of weird. I don't know if you noticed, but the sound engineer booth was up against the ceiling, high up in the back, meaning that when you're up there, you're not hearing the same shit as the ones who's actually listening to this music. So he kept cranking the bass and the subs under the stage. So it was one of the worst gigs as when it comes to like hearing myself and seeing myself. And yeah, so the band weren't really happy with it, and we wanted to kind of like try to do something with the gig, but we have to do that more on the gigs that are coming up, because we just felt a bit out of whack. So we did as best as we could, but just the fact of playing on an instrument that you never played on before is horrible. You rehearse for a reason, so it can just stick in your hands, and suddenly I have this weird ass heavy bass that was just like halfway falling off and stuff. So we didn't feel like we really got to present ourselves. But of course, the songs kind of come through. And I'm happy people enjoyed it. But of course, being a perfectionist, I always want to fucking deliver as good as we can. Of course.
For sure.
That's tough playing on new instruments like right off the bat, and now go perform live with this. You're not familiar with the feel of the instrument. Yeah, that's rough.
I mean, I mean, I loved it either way. I mean, and I say that honestly. I wouldn't just try to cheer you up about it. No,
I can attest. Jeff told me. Now I don't know if you're gonna get embarrassed, but he told me, he goes, I actually felt like I was watching true Norwegian black metal, like it was the real deal.
Finally.
Like we've seen a bunch of bands that play it, but he actually felt like this was the first time.
Yeah,
this was the real true Norwegian black metal coming through.
Yeah, it was the first truly authentic version I had ever gotten to see, because it was unspoiled by time. You guys did it exactly the way it was meant. No. You didn't fool with anything. You didn't put tweaks in. None of that stuff. I hate it when bands
change the songs.
No.
Oh no, we try to present it as people know it. Just like you guys, I hate going to see some old classic and it's like, okay, so you just tweak the fuck out of this, and it's not why I came here. So, but I think what you got there was because of the chaos that came with all the luggage and all this fucking stuff. That I think also takes the band a bit back to the old days, where of course there was always
something always happens. Yes,
it does, and it binds the band in a nice way. This is the kind of shit that makes or breaks bands. If you can't deal with little things that come up like that, then you start hacking at each other instead. But it kind of pulls us together. So I think you got some of that kind of like, I hate this word, but that is the brotherhood kind of feeling that we have on stage. That kind of come through, and you got to see us a bit chaotic in our heads, which is probably pretty authentic when it comes to how we was back in the day too. So that came through.
I mean, there's people in the audience crying. So I was one of them at one point. I'm not gonna lie, I was getting misty.
I wasn't gonna say that part, but
no, seriously, I was so moved by it, and so many of I had friends there. They were all just completely seized by it. So, and I'm part of the reason I'm making a big deal out of this is if you have an opportunity to see them, please don't miss it. I mean, and and I would say this about any band worth a damn, but don't take it for granted either. You guys aren't guaranteeing you're going to be around for another decade doing this or whatever. It's now. If you want to see it, go while they're announcing shows. That's all I can say. And there's no excuse to not make the trip. I did. I went to Zwickau, which is not even an easy town to get to. Airport. I had to drive like 2.5 hours. Got a speeding ticket that I'm still fighting in Zwickau.
Just don't pay it. What are you gonna do?
And to get a speeding ticket in the it's a fucking autobahn. It's the country where you can drive the fastest is Germany. So to get a speeding ticket there is pretty hard, man.
Yeah, it was in the town. I was driving to get lunch, and I went 10 miles over, and
come on.
Yeah. So my point is just you always, the spirit of the underground, is to go where the band is. If you want to see them, don't go, maybe they'll come to America. And I keep telling people, because everybody asks me, hey, do you know if Gehenna is coming to America? I'm like, not this version, no. And
I can tell you very easy answer on that one is that half of the band is not allowed to go to America. So
exactly.
Discussion kind of stops there.
Yeah. I didn't want to say too much about that, but that's the fact of the matter. So you have to cross the pond if you want to see them. That's a fair question, though, of places that you are able to go, like, for instance, like Latin America. Can you make it over there? Do you know?
Oh, yeah. No, there's most of Latin America countries we can. But when it comes to those places, it's more the logistical stuff, the chaos,
Yeah,
there's a whole mythos around touring in South America and stuff. And first of all, we're not touring. We're only doing one-off shows or like 2 shows during a weekend or a long weekend or something like that. So
yeah,
we're not doing any long tours. We had some offers and stuff, but that's not happening. So there's going to be one-offs. And of course, there's some great South American and, Mexican metal fests and stuff, but it needs to just be organized well. And I just can't go down there and wade around in bullshit for 2-3 days.
Hope the best happens.
No.
Yeah, I can't do that.
I need to have it guaranteed, and you need triple, quadruple guarantees down there.
Yes. We're all too old to take those kinds of chances, I think.
yeah, it is. Yeah, I can't.
Maybe in your 20s. Yeah, okay, but.
Yeah. You can do so much stuff when you're like that, and I have, and I'm kind of done with that. So that's like, yeah. So if there's great offers and we can put it together and stuff, yeah, of course. But of course we have to fly for 15 hours too, so it has to be kind of worth it.
That's the brutal part.
I do want to ask, what happened? What sparked you coming back to Gehenna? Like, was there just a conversation with the guys, or did something happen, or like? What brought this on? How did this
actually, it was in 2023. Nocturnal Breed's guitarist Ben Hellion decided to leave this earth by his own hands, and then I had to go to Stavanger to be in his funeral. And at the funeral, some of the Gehenna guys were as well, and we had a couple beers after, and they had been communicating with Svartalv, who was then in Spain, and just through the kind of them talking a bit and me being there, it was just kind of put out on the table a little bit like, what if, could we maybe? And that just lit up a little thing inside me, and then we just spent, a year at least before we really took it up again, and then we just spent another year debating it back and forth, and we got into it. So it's kind of tragic way to kind of get into it, but one weird thing.
I don't want to sound morbid, but it's almost kind of fitting for
that funeral black metal thing.
Yeah. No, that hasn't been lost on me.
Yeah, that's wow.
Now, did your partnership with Darkness Shall Rise, did that help push that forward as well? I mean,
I think so. Like I said earlier, it just really helps when all of us got to see the great material that they produced, to see our old band presented in such a great way. Of course, that just added an extra good feel, and they are positive too. You know, it's a label that actually backs you up and are positive and interested in hearing ideas, and they come and spend a week with a band before they sign you up and stuff like that. You know, most labels don't do that, so there's a very different kind of vibe there.
Wow.
That helps us bind us together, and it reminds me a bit more like the old labels that actually hung out with the bands. You know, they were proper, like taking care of each other. Yeah, like in the early days of, you know, Roadrunner or those kind of labels, you know, where there was a unit. It's us
They
against the
wanted to
rest
get
of
to
the
know the
world.
people they were signing and
Yes.
what they were getting themselves into. And yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So no, that really helps. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'll quickly say that the label we're talking about is Darkness Shall Rise out of Germany. They do fantastic reeditions of a lot of really great stuff. I've talked about them a lot. The Gehenna material is all out right now. And the products are beautiful. Denny and Kati are awesome. They do such great work for their band. So please support them. I think you can get, if you're stateside, you can get a lot of that material through Hell's Headbangers.
I just saw it earlier. I'm like, holy crap. I'm gonna have to spend a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Because I have to own it. I didn't even know that they did it so nice when I looked
yes,
at it. Like, wow.
I bought everything. I left Zwickau with this gigantic box. I had ordered everything and picked it up at the show. So
it does. It's worth. It's like, sorry, babe, we're not paying this payment this month because I get all the games.
Yeah. So I want to be able to also. Gehenna is what you're doing currently, but I also want to give a little airtime to Nocturnal Breed, of course, because that's Breed. But I wanted you to just retell this story because I wanted to play this one song that's kind of your signature song from the Gehenna era called "A Myth." Now,
okay,
this song is kind of unique in the way it was recorded. If you want to tell us about it.
Are you thinking about the vocal stuff?
Yes.
Yeah. No. Of course, it was a part of all the other songs we recorded for that second album, and it was kind of my song. You know, the first one I properly wrote that was going to be recorded full on. That I made the whole thing. Apart from, you know, there's stuff in the middle section that's Sarkana and Sunrub made, but mostly I did the whole thing. And we were having, like you said earlier, I went to the high school with Garm from Ulven, and I'm sure he didn't like me. I didn't really like him much. We were on completely different paths. I was kind of still stuck on thrash and death metal and stuff, and he was really falling face first into black metal stuff. And yeah, so seeing him, you know, a couple of years later, suddenly, okay, I'm gonna have this guy in the studio, and it just annoyed me to the point when I was asked to go and do the vocals. I did the whole thing in one take, and I screamed my fucking anger out, and you can hear it on the vocals. Of course, you can hear me going for air because, of course, I hadn't really practiced for this at all, you know. But we decided to keep that because it keeps the song kind of like, you know, moving forward, and it keeps the intensity really going. But I was kind of standing there looking at this guy through the windows, like, what the fuck are you here now?
I'll show you.
Yeah, it was one of those kind of things, you know, like, because, no, he just didn't quite get me, and I didn't get him, which is kind of cool. I don't give a shit now. It's like so many years ago, but I remember standing there like, fuck you, you're gonna fucking hear it now.
And I never knew that, and I always loved that song, and I didn't know that there was that extra piece. I didn't know you did that all in one take, and it's such a cool song.
True inspiration.
Now when I listen to it, I hear it with completely new ears after all these years, which I really, really love. But I wanted to show everybody what we're talking about, so if we can just go ahead and play that now.
Yeah, let me cue it up.
It's from Second Spell. It's Gehenna, A Myth, and this is, as we hear, all of Svartalv on vocals. This is also probably like one of your gothiest tracks too, which I really liked.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
It kind of has that Cure little noting in there.
I think that's one of the. Yeah, I think that's one of the things that make Gehenna stand a bit out from the other bands is that we have that goth. We allowed the goth inspiration to come into the band, and you can kind of hear that in the whole thing. So that's good.
All right, let's bring it on. Here we go. There we go. All right. Yeah, that's
Massive
a great song.
track. Massive track.
Thank you.
Uh,
Thank you.
Svartalv, I'm curious when there's all the different parts in the middle where there's like more music and you're not singing. Did you actually stand there in the booth and just wait for that to go through to get to the next part?
I think I did. I don't remember it like 100%, but I think I just kind of stood there through the whole thing, and yeah. Of course, we went back and put on, dubs and some things here and there and stuff. But as far as I can remember it, I was just kind of standing there.
Yeah, that is
just hating on that guy from over.
Yeah, just being in my own thing, and of course it feels tense when you're gonna try to really deliver. And like I said earlier, like the bar, we set the bar really fucking high in the whole scene. So it was really important for me to kind of like get it out there properly. That's to show everyone, the band, everyone. I'm a weird kind of person. I just wanted to kind of like put my foot down a bit, I think.
Oh yeah, you got pressure on you. You want to live up to it.
Yeah,
it's a big deal. Yeah.
And I think you made your point. That's the other thing.
Good, thank you.
I mean, it is like a go-to track for a lot of people for the band, for sure.
Yeah, no, I had a lot of good feedback and response from that track, and it was nice in Germany now in Svartalv when we got to play it. It's the first time I ever played it live.
Yes,
that was
How did that feel?
Really nice. It felt
Very
great.
Nice.
It just came rolling out. I didn't have to think about lyrics or anything. It just comes flowing out, and it's nice to see people's reaction to it when we play, because I can see it hits people.
Yeah. I was so excited when you announced that. You went, for the first time ever, and I'm like, oh shit.
Yes.
Yeah, that felt good. That was like one of those like tick off the boxes thing that's always been in the back of my head. Like, I know I can deliver this song, but I need the right guys to deliver it with. It's these guys.
Yeah, for sure. So let's kind of turn it towards Nocturnal Breed, which is your other.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in the chat, but they want to hear about Nocturnal Breed. So
yeah.
Talk.
Well, first things first, you ended it. I don't know if not maybe forever, but I mean, you kind of put a cap on it with Carry the Beast with the release of that album. Is that right?
Yeah, I didn't end the band or anything, but I just like that was kind of it for a while. I was so worn out about the whole thing, and I still am a bit worn out about it, but I'm not quite sure what it is. It's a very different thing doing Nocturnal Breed compared to Gehenna. It's a very different kind of beast. And I think some of it kind of comes down to, I think first of all, I don't like the name Black Thrash in a way, because for Nocturnal Breed it's been like, I don't know, it's not only that, it's much more. It's both the heavy metal and thrash metal, but I think that whole genre has kind of played itself out a bit, and it takes. I hear some good albums. I mean, I hear some good bands, and I hear some good stuff, but it's really hard to get that kind of music to really fucking stick, if you know what I mean. It needs to come from a certain place inside, and for the last years, my heart has been with the Gehenna stuff, and it's been kind of, I don't want to kind of compromise one for the other or anything like that. So
no, that sounds fair.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna see me do Nocturnal Breed or do an album or do some live shows, I want it to be full on. You can't stand there fucking limp dicking it.
Yeah.
You don't want like a half-hearted version of it.
You
just
can't
because.
No. That's same as with black metal. You can't do that with Gehenna or anything like that. It has to be full on. So I just kind of separated it a bit. Maybe that's getting older too, that you learn to kind of separate a bit and say, okay, this thing now. Back in the old days, I'm sure I would have everything piled on top of each other, and but nowadays I think it's more fair to people. But as like an insider detail, I met up with because it's only three of us. It's Mastor and it's Tex Terror and it's me. And I met up with them at the Inferno now. We had a good talk with both of them, and of course we have material laying around and all kinds of stuff. We just need the time to be right for everything. Like
Hmm.
now, when I really just want to focus on the Gehenna stuff now, so at least a year or two more before any like super activity with Breed comes.
Hmm.
There are some talks with this German label that has done some great work on other things to try to get Nocturnal Breed in there to get some reissues of the old albums in a proper
Cool.
fucking way. Finally, like a proper way.
Yeah, because
Because
some of the albums are hard to come by
Yeah.
yeah,
on
they
Nocturnal
are,
Breed.
and you know, an album like the Aggressor album was pressed in '97, and in '97 the vinyl industry was basically just dead.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
the quality,
non-existent, pretty much.
so the quality of the cardboard, the paper, the vinyl, everything is like
Yeah.
It's
it's
pretty
the
bad.
worst shit. Yeah, it's horrible shit. Which is not a label's fault. It's just like the world was looking at CDs and mini discs, you know, around that time.
Hmm.
So so it would be great to just get them out properly and then do some proper shows and move a bit away from where the band ended up. I got, I don't know, it's probably a bit too honest way of saying it, but I got tired of the band in a way and myself in it and everything. So I needed to put some distance on it and go more back
Hmm.
to the roots of the band and get away from the strippers and all that fucking stuff and just yeah, use
Yeah.
another word, strip it down to like the core core of the thing, which I think would be better than I just don't. It's almost like with Gehenna, I don't have any urge to like build it bigger. I just want it to feel better for myself, and I think that will
Hmm.
translate then into the audience can see that we enjoy it more. But yeah, it's still there, and people contact me about it all the time. We get offers all the time, and I'm very grateful for that. So I just think it's fair to do it when the time is right for everyone.
Yeah.
I just love that. Like, they are like Gehenna and Nocturnal Breed are on two different ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, Motorhead appearance or something, looks. And then over here again, you got this really, deep black metal band. So was it hard to like to try to go in between all that, or are they
it,
just
it
like
has
two sides of your personalities that you have, or how would you explain it?
I think around 2015 or between 2010 and 2015, I almost felt like I had like a personality split or something. It
Uh-huh.
just tore from all kind of like mentally kind of been torn back and forth about this and that and the other in different genres, different music, personality. And then I was doing Conjuration, which is this like completely possessed death metal thing on top of it. And
That's killer too, by the way.
yeah,
Conjuration.
thank you. Yeah, yeah. I'm sure like that's one of those things I wish I got properly released in the
Hmm.
States because I think that kind of death metal. And it's based on a kind of like American kind of background with a house on Nuclear Hill and the whole kind of theme we're doing on it. But yeah, no, those personality things kind of get to you for a while until they kind of get until I got them sorted out some years ago. Where, like I said, like it just felt like the Svartalv personality has always been there, and when I found back to that personality, it feels much more right. And I think people who know me and see me feel that as well because that Nocturnal Breed stuff just made me kind of sidetrack both here and there and in all kind of weird directions
I
Hmm.
mean,
when I
SA
was
Destroyer, I mean, it looks like a fucking maniac, like,
It
Yeah.
is, and it's that thing that no one talks about, but you become your name, and it's a funny to take.
mm,
I came up with SA Destroyer when I was drinking like a gallon of wine, swimming on the floor on the phone with a friend of mine in Stavanger. Like, because I'd just been listening to Twisted Sister and that fucking Destroyer song. But then,
destroy.
30 years down the line, and it's like, fuck, every time I take out this personality, I keep fucking up my life. So
Oh, yeah.
it's like my chaos identity, Jacqueline Hyde personality thing that, I just kept it away for a while. Like, even with 1349, the old lyrics I wrote for them is named under SA Destroyer, and the newer lyrics are named on the Svartalv because it just.
Oh, interesting.
Did not know that. Wow. I
It
knew you
just
wrote
feels.
for them, but I didn't know that you separated that. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, so you can kind of see the personality switch in the middle of that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, and we're gonna play a live clip of Nocturnal Breed in just a moment. But the thing that I really notice, of course, is that it's so you're so wired in that mode. So it's so physically demanding. Like you're just sweating your balls off, and you're just playing as hard as you can. Um, which is obviously very different from Gehenna. I mean, you play with great conviction in Gehenna too, but there's just more of
This is more
Oh,
like
yeah.
a dark spirit. This is like
80s fucking thrash metal.
yeah,
Like,
it's
oh, no.
extremely athletic, and I can't imagine that doesn't take everything out of you to do that.
It takes so much. Holy fuck, it takes so much. That's another thing too. Like doing the Gehenna thing, I can kind of more gothily drift around on stage, and
Yeah,
doing Nocturnal Breed is a completely different other thing. That's kind of Bruce Dickinson athletics kind of stuff.
Spotlight's on you, yeah.
And yeah, and also I'm a frontman, and at the end of the last shows we were doing like hour and a half and stuff like that, and fuck, that's a lot to do when you do those 25 fucking songs with full acrobatics and the whole and that's also a reason why, like, if I'm gonna do this and present this properly, because of course the band is being asked to play on bigger and bigger stages, I want to be in that shape. Of course, there is times during the last 10 years when I was playing with Breed where I look at myself and it's like, fuck, who's that half pregnant fucking whale up there kind of thing. It's like,
Yeah.
I need to be in a certain kind of physical mode to do that whole thing, and for it to be positive for me as well. Because if you go on stage and do this and you're not in the shape you should be, when you walk off stage, you're fucking dead. You mentally fucking hate the fucking show, everything. You hate the music. I want to get away from that. I want to walk off stage and feel like I can actually have a conversation with someone without passing out. Because
that is funny, because I know the feeling sometimes, and people want to talk to you and you're like, I just want to go somewhere and get oxygen. I can't even I can't move, man. What?
And I have this additional fucking thing on top that 3-4 years back I was diagnosed with a little bit of asthma, and if you look back at all the Breed shows, I do like a reverse Ozzy Osbourne kind of thing, because I keep pouring water on myself. And I always try to talk to the guys in the band like, fuck, I feel like I'm getting it strangled. I'm strangulated. I'm asphyxiating on stage because it feels like someone is gripping my sarcophagus like on top here. Of course, I've been doing all this fucking stuff with asthma on fucking top of it. So I'm like, yeah, if I'm gonna do it now, I really have to get into working out. And I do workouts to get in shape for Nocturnal Breed, not for Gehenna as well, but with Nocturnal Breed, I just have to do a full year of preparing, I think, to deliver properly.
Yeah, I could see that. Well, why don't we show everybody what we're talking about? We're going to play some live footage from Nocturnal Breed right now, and you'll get to see what that's all about.
The first one on the list? Or
yeah, go for it.
Okay, let me get it queued up.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're going to get to see the night and day between this and Gehenna, which is remarkable, the amount of range that you have.
That's quite a thing to pull off there. You're not a one-trick pony like a lot of other people are. All right, I'm going to add. All right, there you go. That was fucking killer, Jeff. Good jam.
Yeah, obviously quicker songs than Gehenna. So just like go in and just blow it out. But yeah, that you give such a relentlessly good show, whatever mode you're in. I mean, just want to give you praise as a consummate performer. I think it's amazing.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I like how you
important.
get out into the crowd and just, you know, you're gonna fucking
Yeah,
feel
that's
this
what
metal, like it or not. You know, this is fucking killer.
it's what we just talked about. You know, it's that thing. You know, if you're gonna do that thing, and for me, Nocturnal Breed is putting all my metal heroes, you know, from the early to mid '80s into one kind of personality, and that's then I become very confronting, you know, when
Mm-hmm.
I'm in their faces. And
Who would those be, if you don't mind asking? You know,
Yeah.
who are you like
oh,
inspired to make this? You know, I know we
of
talked about Lost
course.
earlier, Blackie Lawless maybe, and who
Oh
else?
yeah, you can see black in this stuff. You know, if you can't see that, you're blind. Blind in Texas and so forth. Oh, I'm sorry, you know, old dad jokes. No, of course. And Dee Snyder, you know, he taught me a lot about just saying "fuck you." You know, the way when I read about those old shows they used to do in New Jersey and New York and stuff.
Yeah.
When he called out people in the audience and actually stopped songs and went, "Hey boy, why aren't you fucking headbanging?" You know,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, okay, I'm gonna headbang. That kind of attitude, I think that's very cool. And uh, you know, the normal stuff, you know, Kiss and Ozzy Osbourne and all these things. It's just all accumulates into
Some
one
Motorhead
thing.
maybe,
Some
probably.
Motorhead, of course. There's some
Mm-hmm.
Lemmy shit going on there. Some Slayer shit going on there. And all of them. Sometimes through the shows, they all kind of almost like walk through my soul. Anyway, you know, it's like fuck yeah, they're all kind of present there, which is
Yeah, that's great. That's the way it should be. I mean,
Yeah.
and you
yeah,
can hear it in the music too. I mean, it really
yeah.
captures
But we're not trying
80s.
to like yeah, but we're not trying to kind of like just plagiarate it and
Mm-hmm.
copying
No,
it flat out. It's just like okay,
no.
this is the energy I get from this, so I'm gonna explode in this direction, and I hope it's like authentic enough.
Oh yeah. I mean, the thing that people don't appreciate, when you look back on all those bands like Kiss or Wasp or Twisted Sister, even, is all those dudes were tough. They
Oh, they
came from
kick your
like,
Yeah,
ass.
oh yeah, they
yeah,
were,
God
yeah.
they
forbid they
were,
kick your ass.
yeah. It's like, don't
I
let
don't
that
think they
makeup
were
fool you.
vegans. I think they
No, all those
were.
guys were
No.
tough fuckers.
Yep.
Yeah, I heard
Bikers
even
off
like
the stage half the time, you know, like shit.
oh yeah, I heard there's even stories about fucking Vince Neil, you know, being actually a pretty tough guy who will actually fucking smack you on the mouth, even though he's like 2 inches tall, you know.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah,
they come from fucking rough settings, you know, and
yeah.
they're even a generation older than us, you know, and it was even fucking harder to be a long haired ass back then, you know. People actually
Hmm.
fucking smacked you over your head, you know, when they came walking. So
Yeah, that's
yeah, they're,
true.
they're tough. Like, you know, what's his name again? The guitarist from Rat, the giant one.
Robin Crosby.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you
Robin.
didn't fuck with him. You didn't like. Yeah,
Mm-mm.
I know. Like Slayer is talking about, like, yeah, we walked up and down Sunset looking for, glam rockers to beat up. You didn't beat up Rat.
Mm-hmm.
Not fucking happening. He would fucking eat you alive on the sidewalk.
Yeah, I think Kerry King would come up to like what his crotch perhaps, and
Yeah,
then
yeah. And same thing with like, and you have Blackie Lawless and Dee Snyder and stuff. These are
They're
all like
huge.
6 foot,
big
two,
guys.
three,
Yeah.
four, five. You know, it's like
Yeah.
these giant fucking people. And then you meet Iron Maiden, and they're all like 4.5 foot fucking Hobbit band.
Hobbit man.
Yeah.
Actually, this is the smallest band I ever met in my life. I worked for AC/DC,
Oh,
and that's the smallest band in the world. They're like, holy fuck, someone let some kids in, and then you kind of look at, holy fuck, no, it's Angus Young and his brother.
oh
Holy
my
fuck,
God.
yeah, they're the smallest, very nice guys, but
Yeah, yeah.
extremely small.
So
Yeah,
why
you
can
can
what?
do a tour with AC/DC in one of those Beetle cars, the the Volkswagen Beetle things that could pull off a whole AC/DC tour.
Yeah, that's why that he can still fit in the schoolboy outfit. For all those years.
And I'm sure it's still,
That's hilarious.
still the same size he had when he went to school. You know?
Yes, yeah. Stopped growing in like the 7th grade or something.
Yeah.
But well, and I can only imagine. I know a lot of your backstory, and you came from fairly rough origins too. I mean, I guess I can only assume that you could detect that in the bands that you were inspired by, like having that commonality.
Yeah, it feels like when you grow up in a shit place, like I'm sure a lot of people out there kind of can relate to, you know, in a half ghetto suburb kind of way. These guys they are your friends, you know, and you get on your BMX in the morning to go to school and put on some Twisted Sister and you go, fuck you. And of course you get beat up when you get to school anyway, but you know, you still have the fuck you with you when you're doing that, you know. So no, it felt like companions through all kinds of shit in my life, you know, that you go through in life. Music is one of those things that is always there, and I won't let it be ruined by idiot people that come in and out of your life, kind of thing. You know?
That's good advice right there.
Yeah.
And I think it's also important. It's like you know, black metal became very trendy and very overexposed, but I never let that ruin the classics for me. You know, just because everybody else got into it.
I kind of, you know, that's a good point to bring up because I see a lot of people like ragging on things. And I'm like, yeah, but not back then. It was, you know, you shouldn't let what's happening now influence like or put a damper on what it was originally. You know, when it came out, this was like really killer stuff.
Yeah, and crucial.
And that goes for all the different genres. You know, like the cradle of each of the genres is brilliant. That's why we loved it. You know, and I couldn't really do that thing when black metal came along. I couldn't like chop away all my old stuff. So I brought with me, you know, the cradle of the heavy metal stuff, the thrash stuff, the death metal stuff, you know, all these things kind of came with me, which wasn't really allowed, you know, for a while in the black metal scene to like anything but black metal. But also, like, I think I said that before in interviews and stuff too. That's one of the things I liked with meeting the Gehenna guys because they are completely open to metal. So, you know, we could go from Abruptum to Danzig in a flash, you know, at a party. We didn't mind at all.
Yeah.
I like that. My mind is bigger than just narrowing down on one little thing.
Yeah. You can really hear that in the Gehenna material. Like we were talking about, you guys have a whole lot of different cues in your work. It's absolutely black metal. And to me, in very pure black metal form in its way, but there's so many
can
other...
still pull from other arenas and that's so cool.
And we let it kind of openly color us without having kind of restrictions about, oh no, we can't have this and that. And it just kind of became what it was, influenced by all kinds of different genres and music styles. And yeah, I'm glad, you know, and the band is still like that. We still listen to like a giant plethora of music. I think it's important. Like you said, there's a lot of people who's like throwing shit about the different, like in the old days and this and that and the other. But like, there's a reason why the big are big and the good shit was good shit, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to take an opportunity also, just because it's been out for almost came out in 2023. Time has flown, but you did the most recent Nocturnal Breed album, Carry the Beast. I mean, because you guys you can't play overseas, really. You definitely can't play in America. I sometimes think that Nocturnal Breed kind of feels like a European phenomenon, and I'm always like trying to help that along in my own way. And I wanted to go ahead and, if it's all right with you, go ahead and play a track off Carry the Beast. So hear like the most recent incarnation of what you guys are doing. And
go for it.
And again, just that spread between Gehenna as one pillar and Nocturnal Breed as another pillar, which I really find fascinating.
Yeah.
So Carl's going to cue it up for us here.
Is that the Knights of Denim?
Yeah, that's it. The official video.
Sure.
So you get to sing along with the lyrics.
Get this queued up for you. There you go. Cue. All righty. We're going to... Ready to roll. All right.
Hey, banger, because that's what I'm good at.
What's over every galley? Through the tops of cold and steel. Feeling nothing lifted, noise of terror.
All right, man. That was a fucking killer tribute to heavy metal.
Yeah, an
Yeah.
epic tribute, really.
Yeah.
I mean,
Thank you.
Thumbs
That's
up,
honest.
that's up. Go ahead.
Yeah, to be honest, it's the first time I heard it in 3 years.
oh wow,
So,
that's cool.
yeah. I had way more solos than I remembered.
That's an epic.
Yeah, and even deployment of keyboards, it's kind of interesting how, like, you know, despite the division, there's still that same kind of ambience in it, because a lot of speed and, you know, kind of thrash heavy metal, not using a lot of keyboards, and you totally went for it on this and made it, you know, really almost like a soundtrack, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good way. Yeah.
Yeah, what I wanted to do with that was, of course, that song is very Iron Maiden inspired, you know. So when it came to that middle section, it was like, let's go fucking full Seventh Son here.
Yeah,
So I bought a really old Casio keyboard and I ran that through my guitar amps with a lot of echoes and shit on, and it's like proper
wow.
fucking Seventh Son kind of thing. So I wanted kind of that mixed with, you know, when Accept do the same thing.
Yes,
Some of those songs, you know, when you have the full metal thing and they have the keyboards and like just like underneath everything to carry the whole thing, it's like, yeah, no, it was just needed to kind of, to give that proper treats to the whole metal thing.
Yeah,
Even though it's keyboard.
Yeah, the lyrics remind me of something I would have written like back in the 80s, you know, like
very
just
much.
very much, you know, full on, you know, heavy metal spirit. And,
I did that. I just watched a bunch of those new Wobum documentaries kind of over and over again, and then like, and even the video material there is like, it's basically, you know, kids going nuts at all the Motorhead shows and Iron Maiden shows, Saxon show, that kind of thing, you know, that was created back there. So just kind of nice, because that's my first meeting with heavy metal is those dudes. You know, with a really old kind of denim jackets and
yeah, the real
pants
and not the silly stuff nowadays where it's a patch jacket, not a denim jacket.
It's turning into this. I don't know. There's a start to go on some of those those women who are quilting and making blankets and stuff. You know, it's
Yes.
kind of moving into that kind of department. You know,
It's
with
jumped
all
the
the
shark.
patches.
Yeah, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
this is getting ridiculous.
Well, I like the old feel when it's like, okay, I could only afford 4 patches, but I carry them very well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you said them like
Yeah.
right on the front there. I mean, Nick and I were joking about that. We went to Steel Fest. Yeah, Nick from Metal Enema and I, we were joking about going to Steel Fest and going, shit, this whole festival could just be built out of patches. It's like, you know, you could have the stage built out of patches. Everything's just nothing but patches. Like everything's just covered in patches because everybody has these jackets now. It doesn't even matter if they're denim anymore because you can't see it. It's just literally
just patches,
made out
like
of
sewn
patches.
together.
Have you seen those? It's normally like bigger dudes who do the double back patch and shit, and they have like the denim
cape.
half. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, wow, the punch. There will be punch holes coming out now soon with patches and shit on.
Yes,
They can
yes.
do the A to Z of bands. Of just
Oh yeah,
Yes.
the whole thing.
And I love how carefully they're curated now, where it's less about bands that you like, but
It's a
making sure
fashion
that
show.
you've got all the ones that count. Ooh, well, I gotta have the Slayer patch. That's mandatory. Ooh, but then I have to have my edgy black metal patch over here. And, mainstay. I gotta have the Asphyx patch because that's a mainstay black, death metal band. I mean, it's nothing against those bands, but the way people do that to very carefully acquit themselves,
Yeah, it's more about telling other people now how cool you are, that
Yes.
actually, like that's why on my leather jacket I have 3 patches. One is Gehenna, one is Bathory, and one is Iron Maiden. And that's okay.
Only statement
That's
you
all.
need.
I mean, that's all you need. I had a couple of vests where I got a little crazy, and I said to myself, I'm not doing any more than this because it's just looking dumb,
Yeah.
We can have them on the side, and then
Yeah. And the older you get to it, kind of feels like when I do Nocturnal Breed, it's okay. When I go on stage and I have my battle vest, I don't really like that word, but it has vest on, and that's okay. But like now, when I'm just hanging out, I don't really feel in that mode. I feel more like my good old leather jacket with a couple of patches. That's more kind of me in a way.
Yeah.
You kind
And
of
it's
tone
weird.
it down
Like in
some.
Norway, we have this thing in Norway, but like the further you get away from Norway, the more patches people have on.
They have that in. I don't know if you guys have a similar concept in Norway. In Sweden, I'm going to butcher the word. I tried to say it the other night and I screwed it the fuck up. Logom. You know what I'm talking about? Logom. Yeah, it's. I don't do the emphasis, but in Swedish that means just enough, and that dictates their sense of aesthetic. Yeah. Do you guys? Does Norway have a similar concept?
Oh yeah, we definitely both Norway and Denmark and Sweden and Finland has that kind of thing, and it's built into our law and all kinds of things. And we have this thing called the Jante law in Norway, which is put up a whole bunch of things like that logom stuff. The first rule there is do not think you are something. That pretty much says it.
Yeah.
Oh, don't let your head get too big.
Yeah, we're raised on that kind of thing. So it is a bit hard to become a bit famous here. People like Satyr, for example, take a lot of slack because Norwegians aren't good at someone kind of making it and stuff like that. But it also keeps us a bit grounded and down to earth. And I think they also mixed into the creation of that second wave of the black metal stuff that it's extravagant, but in this kind of restrained way, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. It seems like it emphasizes just sort of the abstract of it rather than like a gauche materialistic version of it like we have in the States. I mean, I would say Satyr is about as tacky as it gets with some of. He's so pretentious, I mean, I almost feel like he has almost a. I mean, I don't know the guy, but you're talking about him taking slack. It's like, well, he is pretty high profile in the way he presents. He's got a wine brand and all these types of things that that's a little bit out.
That's weird, but it's not only in Norway though. People have problem with him all over the place because the way he decided to do his thing. But also bands like, for example, Dimmy Borgir. Of course, it's kind of hard for them. Not hard for them because I'm sure they don't give a fuck. To make it a little bit in Norway, no matter who you are, you have to fight through this bunch of kind of scum
Yeah.
That only can see the fact that you made something out of yourself, kind of thing. And I had the same thing. I came to a job to work with my first 7-inch, really proud of having fucking released the 7-inch in 1993, and no one at work bothered to even hardly look at it. It was just like, oh, okay. No one fucking cared at all.
Not impressed.
Yeah, which also just confirmed my whole kind of black metal aesthetics that I was falling into, because it's like, well, of course, this is what I would expect. Oh, you fucking assholes, like,
Yeah.
Sure.
So I don't. From that point, to kind of go, I don't care about what anyone's going to think about this, because it just felt good anyway to do it, So
Yeah. I have to.
You got to do it first and foremost for your own enjoyment.
Yeah, it's got to be for yourself.
Yeah.
I think that underlines the whole start of those first years of black metal too. Everyone did it for themselves, because there was nothing to gain out of it, neither money or fortune or fame or girls or fucking anything.
Yeah.
It was just you and the dudes in the fucking forest trying to just react to all these feelings inside and this music you were in love with.
Yeah, back then
it's hard to imagine, right? Like, you wouldn't think like Emperor back then were thinking, we're gonna play,
Bakken
years
or
from now, all over the U.S. and big, places, Bakken. It's hard to imagine that was the goal.
It's completely not on the radar even. It was like on the radar was like, yeah, maybe we're gonna play a show in Oslo next year. That was on the radar. And that's a show for 200 people, maybe, if you're lucky. So it wasn't, none of this was planned. None of this was ever in anyone's minds, because of course we all grew up with like, oh yeah, wouldn't it be cool to kind of do a Blackie Lawless kind of thing? But that's so, at the same time, you understand this is complete fucking far-fetched when you're sitting in the woods in Norway to think you're gonna be the new Blackie Lawless. So it's like, no, it was never there. I think it took some years before all the band kind of went like, oh fuck, are we this big? Can we actually ask for some money now? Can I please have $100 for the show? Because we played for free. The first concerts and tours we just did it for free for the beer and the experience.
Yeah, and you don't think of that when you're starting out and when you're doing it for yourself. You don't think of those types of things. You're just excited that you get to do it at all. And, you feel like you're,
that's gonna be fine.
Yeah, whoever's booking it, you feel like they're doing you a big favor to get to play a show,
And they ripped all of us off like crazy.
I know.
The first years. I'm sure like a company like Metallice, who did a lot of tours in the start there, they fucking cashed in, because half the bands were like, really? Can we ask for money? Oh, I thought this baguette and this beer was great,
Right. Yeah, they ripped everybody off back then, from what I understand. So.
Oh, fuck yeah. And
I'm sure no one knew.
They did the weirdest fucking shit. We had a tour bus with Satiric on it, and we had a Belgian French-speaking dude who only spoke French. So problems started at the first fucking second of the tour. He's just going, and you're like, fuck, this is like going nowhere.
Oh no.
Yeah. I mean, you reminded me, you were talking about bringing your 7-inch into work, and I had an exact similar story when my first album with the Verse Saphira came out. I brought that to work, and I don't know why I did that, because I wasn't friendly with anybody at work, but I wanted people to see it anyway. And I showed it to this one guy I worked with who was a little bit over me, and he said, "What is this?" He's looking at it, looking at me, and looking at me with corpse paint on, and kind of like, And then he said, "What? Does anyone like this?" And I said, "Well, yeah, we're kind of popular in South America, and we got a bigger following in Poland right now." And he goes, "Huh, Poland?" And I said, "Yeah, man, where are you big?" that ended that conversation.
Where are you big?
Yeah,
my house.
Yeah, no, it's like, and all this experience, which I'm sure most people in the scene have had, that just makes us even take further steps away from the mainstream. And
exactly.
Yeah.
It becomes self-perpetuating. The more, I guess in Norway, but also in America for sure, where they don't get any of this stuff at all. It's like the more you do with it, the more exposure you have with it, the more evidence there is of you doing it, the less people seem to understand it, because there's just more to scrutinize and more to question. And and it just pushes you further into it. You're just like, okay, I have less in common with you than I did, 2 years ago or what have you.
Yeah, I think you can see it in some of the bands too. It's almost like a little wedge in a stream. Right there when the band comes to that point where you kind of have to decide, like, are we going to be part of the Kumbaya gang, or are we going to be part of a real kind of, core that runs into this? And you can hear on some of the bands who just like fall in that other, kind of path, and it just goes, oh, okay, you just lost that kind of thing.
Yeah. Will you enter the Matrix or will you not enter the Matrix?
Blue pill, the black pill, white pill. We're going here.
Yeah, I still, you and I talked about this previously, but just the pervasiveness of like 9 Inch Nails showing up even in like black metal bands of that period. That was so weird to me. Everybody was kind of getting that industrial tip, And
that like we talked about earlier, around 97, maybe 98, when some of those bands started they just listened too much to 9 Inch Nails and Marilyn Manson or whatever the fuck they did. But it just, I love industrial music, but I have to go further back to the old stuff, to Ministry stuff, and to the, Godflesh and shit like that. And I can't. Yeah, that's industrial to me. It needs to be terrifyingly dark and vile and also like Frontline Assembly.
I love them.
The early shows from Skinny Puppy and stuff. They were so crazy, those fucking shows.
Yes.
Holy fuck, they were mad.
Yeah, black metal bands of the now could absolutely learn a lot from going back and watching old Skinny Puppy
absolutely.
Live.
Go and look at that shit and see. And also a band like Alien Sex Fiend.
Yeah.
And some of those bands, they went so far out to take the theatricals in, but they also mix it in, of course, with the cyborg kind of stuff and the gothy stuff. And there's old Skinny Puppy shows where there's more slime, and I don't know what they have on stage, but there's like, oh, it's so good. It's so fucking good. So that I was lucky enough to grow up with people way older than me, so I got to see some of those things. I remember the first VHS that came out of Ministry too, when they have like fenced stage.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so fucking beautiful. It's so fucking aggressive and unrelentingly kind of just there. There is no, hey guys, and talking between the songs. It's just like, fuck, I will rape your mind.
Yes.
I just love that. That didn't translate into some of those bands in the black metal scene who wanted to do the kind of industrial thing. I think Mysticum does it good, but they did it way, way earlier.
Yes. I got to see
they were
them
way ahead of everyone.
They were some of the first ones into that. Yeah, they started doing that industrial stuff in 92, 93.
And it was, that's very, and what they did with it was very confrontational, really aggressive. And
oh, yeah, there's no kindness in that stuff. It's very cold and merciless, and I love that about it.
I love that about the Gehenna set and Zwickau. You guys, I mean, I didn't expect there to be a lot of talking, but there literally wasn't. You guys were just up there with minimal addressing of the crowd. Just the atmosphere was kind of unbroken throughout. And I think that's the way it should be. I just saw Emperor a couple of weeks ago, and they're fantastic live. They're really, really great musicians. But, Ishan is very nice and he's very, social. And he's like, hello, it's so great to be here, blah, blah, and it's just like, no, just fucking playing the Night Side Eclipse,
Yeah.
Don't ruin it.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. I mean, you get at that level, I know that's kind of what's expected and blah, blah. But I think when you're a band with that kind of aesthetic, front loading, you can make that choice for yourself. It doesn't have to be mandatory. I mean, I'm saying this thinking about Emperor with no paint, and then of course Gehenna fully decked out like the old days. Let me ask you about that. It occurred to me when you we're talking about newer bands, like stuff that gets pushed forward to you, or the ones we all can't keep track of, like Gehenna in its form is completely dedicated to that aesthetic. And like, you guys didn't decide, oh, well, we're in our 50s now, we don't need to wear the paint anymore. You came back and brought it back the right way. What do you think about bands that come out now that say they're black metal, but they don't have the paint and the aesthetic? Like, do you have any thoughts on that? I mean, is there a right or wrong way to do it?
Well, I'm not like, I don't really like the rules in the scene, but for
Mhm.
me, I have talked to some bands about this stuff too, that, you have to kind of look like what you're playing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So sometimes I see some band and they're kind of just standing there and it's like, yeah, this is probably some kind of death metal band. And then you put it on and it's like totally into the forest kind of black metal stuff. And it's like,
Yeah.
I kind of want it to make sense. I love that about the old bands I like too, that the aesthetics, the cover, the pictures, the image, the everything, it kind of went hand in hand with the music that they put on, and it makes that, complete experience. And
The
it's,
whole package of it all, and not just,
yeah. That's what
you know,
we fell in love
it's what
with all
draws you
this.
into it.
Yeah. Well, that's why we kind of fell in love too with like the bands. Like we talked about Wasp. It would be really weird if a couple of those guys was just doing like a cowboy hat and blue jeans.
Mm.
Hmm.
It's- Yeah, it's just, and you have a lot of that too, which I see in bands. This mix, which is like, I understand that you play with your friends and stuff, but like figure out what you're doing. You can't have one goth dude and a
Yeah.
chick
A
that, yeah,
cowboy.
you
It's
know what
not
I
the
mean?
village
It's like,
people, man. Come on.
yeah, it's like, of course you can have different personalities. We try to do
Yes.
that in Gehenna too, to let out our personalities within
Mhm.
like the framework, but you have to keep a fucking framework on it. You can't
Yeah.
have this new metal guy next to painted up black metal guy, and then you have some confused girl in the middle who's been listening to My Dying Bride too much. And it's like, all this stuff is like fucking wouldn't it feel nice to have like one fucking, place to go, one identity, one kind of thing to kind of like
Yeah.
hone in on. Kind of, yeah, at least for me, that would be natural. But yeah, try to look yourself in the mirror and go like, does this match the shit I play?
Exactly.
No,
I
no, I
always,
agree, man. Because Jeff, too, a lot of the newer bands, they'll sound like all right, and then when you see a picture, you're just like,
it's like
ugh.
so disappointing.
And I know I
Yeah,
get
yeah.
crap for this, but
Nobody shouldn't look at them. I love just hearing something because immediately when I start looking at things and stuff,
it
it's just
turns you
like,
off, right? You see
yeah.
some totally normal looking short haired dudes in the band, and it was like,
Or
Yeah.
like, or like we talked about the AC/DC dads, who's like, what are you playing? Where are you in life here? It's like
Yeah.
just,
yeah,
we're just standing there, and you have those. I don't know. There's something with people's expression in their faces. I know I'm nitpicking now from a grumpy old guy's point of view, but like,
Hmm.
there's something about the fucking dedication in people's faces and the fuck yeah that you did back in the days.
Yeah.
Even in the videos, notice this from now, and everyone who's listening, look at all the new metal videos and that's coming out. Look at the drummer. They don't fucking play drums anymore. They're just like picking a little bit here, picking there. Have you
Yeah.
seen the old metal
mm,
videos? Fucking
Yeah.
Twisted Sister playing with baseball bats and just like,
Yes.
fuck
going
them, they're
nuts.
smashing. We understand it's a video, but fucking smash the fuck up that set. Play. You can even see videos when you see people shoegazing because they have to look at their fingers so they're playing right. Who
Right.
gives a
Right.
fuck? You're playing in a music video. No one's
Exactly.
gonna give a shit what you're doing. Like, dude, no, it's kind of weird. It's a bit lame and kind of shoegazing. And I'm sorry, we're here. Kind of like, oh, I'm playing sometimes. Come on,
Yeah.
fucking put some oomph in it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I always, and speaking of the aesthetic, I was going to say the easiest point of reference for that uniformity of aesthetic for presentation, I call it the Ramones theory. Those guys, they all just wore the same fucking outfit, even had the same haircut, basically. I don't think you don't even need to go through all that, but I'm just saying
I know what you mean.
that relative uniformity, it's like Gehenna's like that. You guys, you're not dressed exactly the same, but you have a component aesthetic which represents each individual in the band as part of that whole. And I really think that's critical for a band. I
It,
mean,
it is. It's almost like a comic reference. You need everyone to come out of the same fucking universe.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, that's
Fantastic
right.
Four. Fantastic Four looks like they know each other.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, Carl Svartalv is also an old school comic book fan, so that's
Oh,
another thing
okay,
we
right
all
on.
have in common. So
Another
Oh fuck
thing.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. And American comics were pretty hard to get by in Norway, so I just raked all those thrift stores and secondhand stores and just
There you go.
when I
Yeah.
came
yeah,
over that stuff, yeah, totally.
But yeah, I like that. They all got to look like they know each other.
Yeah, you have to do that. It's like it's important from everything from bands to fucking Lord of the Rings or Superman or wherever you go. It has to be like a complete little universe there.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I think the move back towards physical media's popularity, because people are tired of online streaming, people are tired of not owning it. They want the LP, they want the CD. I think that's helping maybe bring back a pressure to have a complete aesthetic. Because for years, there's people who like listen to songs like on Spotify or whatever. They don't even know what the album cover looks like.
Oh yeah,
You know,
yeah.
People
What
and
a
people don't
shame,
have-
right, man? You love something, but you couldn't even recognize it if it was put in front of you with
Yeah.
your eyes. That's terrible.
And that's I really hope that comes back, like the magic of a full album. People don't even know how it's like to listen to a full album and take in the whole
Yeah.
atmosphere of that album and fucking smell the cardboard and look at the little things and
yeah.
all those things. I'm so glad to see that kind of coming back. And that's one of those things that AI and those fucking things, that you can't replicate that fucking
Nope.
feeling sitting in someone's basement smelling an LP.
Yeah.
That's unique.
That's the real experience. That's what
It is.
I mean. Music like should be a storybook to your life sometimes. Like certain things and albums are capture an era of your life. And
It's
imagine when
soundtracks.
people-
It's soundtracks. Yeah, it's soundtracks.
yeah,
to your life.
soundtracks to your life. Yeah,
Mhm.
and the people who just streamed, they're not going to have that.
Yeah.
They're
No.
older. They're not going to have that type of thing, and that's kind of sad. This is Roy Fox from Death Metal Podcast, and cool to see you there, Roy, just saying that. Maybe they should charge less than $40 for a record that costs $7 to make. Oh,
I can tell you right now, it doesn't take $7 to make anymore. That was actually cool. This is just a quick side story, but the label Nuclear War Now Records, which my band Imprecation is on, they now have a plant, an LP plant here in Texas, about 2 hours away from where we live. So now he has full control because he can print his own LPs. I mean, it's a real full-size plant. It's incredible. And we actually got to go to the facility and print our own copies of our records, which was insane. I never thought that would happen. Yeah, it's a really cool thing. And he's also working with other labels. So, he's making it easier for that to happen. But no, I mean, I just want to be clear on that. I don't know how much it costs, but it ain't $7. There's a lot more. Those machines are insane. And I was watching him feed the pucks into it, and it's hilarious because he's going, okay. He's like letting us push the buttons to press it, but he was actually like putting everything in and setting it up. And I'm watching him do that. I'm like, oh yeah, I'd fuck that up right away. Like the label would be like completely sideways on it or whatever. But
it's an art form to make those. It's a lost kind of art form that needs to come back again.
Yeah, but just that hands-on process, front to back, and being able to hold it in your hands and like. I don't know about you guys, but whenever I was listening to an album with a really good piece of cover art, I would always imagine like an animated version of whatever's happening on the cover, with the music. Like you're listening you listen to Altars of Madness and you see all the faces moving around on, just in your head.
Oh yeah. And that's where Iron Maiden got us all, because Eddie and the world behind him, it's like, that world. I wrote so many when we were having Norwegian lessons in school and stuff, and they have one of those, you have to write a story about this and that and the other. For 10 years, I managed to fucking squeeze Eddie into that, and I wrote stories about Eddie.
That's great. Yeah, that and again, that's part of the aesthetic completeness we're talking about. Like Iron Maiden was like probably the godfathers of that in terms of concept, because they made these really elaborate covers, and then even for their singles and all the other ones, like it told
Always
a continuous story.
Great.
It was almost like a comic book, with just the lyrics instead of it being word bubbles. You get sucked into it that way, and we got to get back to that. I think everything has to. You don't just slap a piece of art on there. It actually has to have some call back to what the music's about, and
yeah.
I
I like that when they create the whole world like they did there, the feeling, the look of it, everything. Like you said, when the 7 inches and 12 inches came out, they all had it was almost like a continuation of the story, from the original.
Yes.
album cover and stuff. Yeah, that's also a bit lost now. I
Like
think
you were saying earlier, it's its own universe.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
like building on it. It's
absolutely.
great.
And what Iron Maiden made this in such a, I don't know if they even knew they did it, but the way they, of course, I think they knew they did it, but they took themselves a bit out of it. They let Eddie do the whole thing, and since they're kind of humble people, it allowed them to kind of like be just like side actors to this giant beast in this world, and they just kind of play into it, and it's not all about fucking them, which a lot of
Yeah.
people would have done.
Yeah. That was
That's a
really,
good point. Yeah.
it was genius. I mean, and I don't think anyone's ever managed to do it better than that. I don't think you can recreate that
No.
wheel. You know?
No. I think the King Diamond has been very good at it, to create
Yes.
this whole universe and just push everything away and say, this is my King Diamond universe, and no one's touching it. And there's no point trying to touch it. There's not even point trying to cover King Diamond or Merciful Fate songs, because it's just gonna never be as good. And wasn't it the Dark Funeral, I think, who tried to cover King Diamond song, and it's just like, nah.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that one, but I don't think I want to.
It just goes flat immediately when King is not there doing his, stuff.
It loses context when it's that personalized, And I think it's
certain things just have to be performed by the actual artist, or
it
doesn't make the same impact.
But
there's a few of those things which is like almost impossible to kind of, or it's pointless to kind of try to copy it. Like same thing as with I would say the EP on the first album from Emperor and stuff too. There's no point trying to cover that. I have been part of it once, but it's like, nah, you can't even reach close to it, so there's no point. And there's no point twisting it into another genre, or we don't want to hear a heavy metal version of Inua Satana. No one want to hear that.
Yeah. Wasn't that comp tribute to the Black Emperors? When it was like all Scandinavian bands covering other. Is that the one I'm talking about, or no?
I think,
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Some of them were interesting, kind of, but at the same time, it just didn't work because I'm going. You got these bands covering each other, but it makes it. All it did was demonstrate how different all the bands were from each other back then.
Yeah. It's not like the great covers that got stuck in my head. When I grew up and stuff, it's not the fucking Judas Priest Green Monolith or whatever it's called, the quality to it. It needs to be one of those things that is like, and I know a lot of people too, didn't know that Garage Days was cover songs, so they thought that was Metallica songs, a bunch of people grew up on that. It's like, what is it Killing Joke, really? Like, took 10 years before people realized that stuff.
Yeah.
Budgie was, the original band and all that.
Yeah.
But I did like, Jeff, like the Bathory tributes that came out. I thought those were actually good.
But
the Mayhem
for some reason, Bathory allows for a bigger playroom to play with it. It's simpler music. It's not like Emperor's got all this fucking technical shit
going on. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. It's a bit easier to kind of go in there and say, okay, we can do a version of this. It's kind of, but yeah, and same as like with the live stuff they're doing now with Bathory. It really works.
Yeah, like I remember only once have I ever heard a Gehenna cover. I was so shocked. We were playing in the Czech Republic in 2002, and there was a Serbian band called May Results, and they came out, and I mean, I think it made it to one of their albums, but they popped up that song, and they did a pretty respectable version of it, but it was like, they're going, this is a cover of A Witch is Born. I'm like, who the fuck is doing this? I mean, that's the only time I've ever heard anyone try to cover Gehenna. I mean, I'm sure somebody's done it somewhere, but you know what I'm saying? It's just like,
there's a cover version of this band close to you guys, Black Moria. Yeah, they covered, was it Angel Wings or Ravenclaws, I think.
Are you talking about the Black Mariah?
Yeah, the Black Mariah.
They covered you guys. Yeah. Wow, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't know they did that.
I'll have to look into that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's the only one I know about that's covered it. I heard some rumors here and there, but I haven't. It's not. We're not one of those bands. People do a lot of covers.
Yeah.
Same thing with Nocturnal Breed. That hasn't been. I think that's mostly the solos that stop people from covering Nocturnal Breed, because some of those solos just fucking go off.
Yeah.
Those are wicked solos.
Yeah, they are.
Trying to tackle them would probably be rough.
Oh yeah. No, it's one of those bands where if you're not into solos, of course, Nocturnal Breed is going to irritate you a bit. But I've been blessed with having, some of the greatest fucking lead guitarists in that band, and like Mastor, who's still with us, who's been with me since '97. Yeah, just like you heard on that Knights of Denim song, the shit he just like puts out there is like, because I just tell him like, okay, I need some kind of new album stuff, but it can't be fucking copying, it needs to have the proper feel.
Yeah.
And it's really good at tapping in at those things, and I can just jump out sometimes in the studio and go like, you have to do Andy LaRock now, do some Andy LaRock shit, and he just goes, you get some kind of ghostly King Diamond feel stuff. Like, I love working with people like that. You can just pick it out and
jump right into it. Yeah. That's nice.
That's great. I guess we're kind of coming close to the end. We've been doing this for a while. Thank you so much for all your time tonight.
Thank you for coming on.
No, thank you. It's been a great talk. Talk, guys.
Let's talk about the present tense just a little bit here. So you, just to get everybody back up to speed, Gehenna will be appearing at House of the Holy. If you don't have your ticket for that already, you ain't going. I can tell you that. But I will be there, so I'll be seeing you soon, and I can't wait for that. And then you got Hellfest coming in the summer as well.
Yeah, and we got Midgardsblot in Norway.
Okay.
And we're working on some bookings in Romania, I think. And we have, in September, October, we're working on some gigs in Spain, and we have stuff booked for Krakow with Morbid.
Yes.
Which will be great. And, for people like you, and I have to say this, Jeff, it's your dedication is really, it's really something, for people who think they're dedicated, like do like Jeff and go to Germany and spend a whole day trying to drive on little fucked up roads to get to Dresden, it's like, then you really want to see something. So I really, really appreciate you and other people who actually do that kind of travel. But no, that show will be really, really cool to do the Morbid shows. And
just as a quick aside, I was actually talking with Victoria, and she nearly convinced me to come to Krakow. The only reason I couldn't do it is because the show is on a Friday instead of a Saturday. For me to back out time from work to go. But no, seriously, I looked into tickets and everything. I was like, oh fuck, I might be able to do this, but now I had to give up.
I can fix it. I can fix the ticket in there, man. That wouldn't be a problem. But I can't fix your plane ticket.
Right? No, that's the thing. It's just like I was like, I just couldn't get the time. But yeah, again, I would say if you're watching this in Europe, if you're watching this on playback, and you go, oh, I wish I could see Gehenna. That'd be awesome. It's like, think about it. Go to one of the shows they're doing this year, because again, none of this is ever guaranteed. I mean, Gehenna was always, to me, a very special and obscure band for a lot of good reasons. And what that means is it's not going to be on Wacken and Partisan. It's not an industry band. It's not on Nuclear Blast. You guys are doing it because you want to do it, and so that's up to you. It's not. There's nothing propelling Gehenna. I mean, maybe I'm speaking too much for you, but I was going to say, I don't perceive, there's no machine that's propelling Gehenna forward to make this happen. You guys are making this happen.
It's totally us. We don't have any management or any business above us that is pushing us or telling us anything, basically. And if that happens or anyone tries, we just, it's like a bar of soap. We just go, okay, they're gone.
Yeah.
That's nice though, right? You have that option, like, we're not going to do it.
I think that's important, for all the bands and people out there too. If you feel you're under the boot, get the fuck away from under the boot. There's no point. But if you want to do the whole Nuclear Blast kind of route and go that way, of course, then you have to take a lot of shit up your ass, basically. Bend over and enjoy it if that's your thing, but I'd rather not. So
I like that. Gehenna seems to walked away from this all with their integrity intact.
Yes.
Where a lot of the bands, like you were saying, they haven't. And so
I,
I appreciate
yeah,
that as a fan.
Thank you. It's nice to
seriously.
hear that kind of shines through. That's even though, like I said earlier, there's no giant internet presence. We don't do 50 interviews a month or anything like that. But that people can see that it comes from a real place. It's pretty much the most important thing. Apart from ourselves, of course, enjoying it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it shows through, and again, that's why I think it's worth celebrating, because that's not the everyday anymore. A band from the original, Black Circle scene. After all the hype and everything behind it, and you guys are just doing it honestly, not for a cash grab. I think that's really worth celebrating.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You can see that.
Okay. Carl, do you want to, I guess on that note, Svartalv, do you mind if we play some footage from the Zwickau show to send us off?
Well, let me say this.
Yeah.
Chris was asking, I don't know if he came in late, what's up with Nocturnal Breed, but you just said it's kind of like on hold, right? And for the
it's
time being.
just on a little technical break till, like I said earlier, I need it to be proper. So now I need to focus on Gehenna and to do the full spectacle of Nocturnal Breed. I need that to be the only focus then. So it will come, but it will come like in a year or two, I think.
Great.
Okay.
Well, we'll be keeping an eye out for that, and once it's back, we'll be telling the world about that one too. But in the meantime, keep an eye out for Gehenna, and again, support them. Check out those re-releases on Darkness Shall Rise if you haven't. They're really worthy. I grabbed everything.
Yeah, if you like what you heard today, order it. Americans, you can get it at Hell's Headbanger. They have it in stock.
They're beautiful editions. They're worth reowning. They got great liner notes from everybody in the band telling the stories from that period. I mean, it's really a fantastic time capsule. So definitely check it out.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. But when it comes to that last live clip, we actually have asked people not to play most of the stuff from that Svartalv gig because we feel kind of off.
Okay, so we don't have to do that.
That's up to you guys to decide.
No.
Personally, I prefer to rather give you a good show this summer so you can have some good stuff to show from there instead. Actually, there was too many little fuck ups that I know we have put our foot down a bit to kind of it sucks a bit for the label too, but we try not to kind of we want in that sense that there's a lot of new people coming onto the band now, and it's then I rather go to the one we had in Bergen, for example, some stuff.
Well, no problem. We don't have to
play
do
the song Angel Wings and
do that instead. That's a perfect way to
that's a good
yeah.
Right,
okay,
let me get that queued up here.
Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it.
No, thank you guys. It's been a great talk. As I said, I don't do many of
this is a fun show.
When I'm first gonna do it, it's nice to talk to some good guys. So it was a good talk.
I appreciate that.
And Jeff, I'll be seeing you in a month, in a little bit.
Yeah,
I'll check in with you. Luggage.
Yeah.
So it's a big guitar case or something. I don't know. All right. Yeah. Did you want to come back, and are we going out? The show?
I think we can go out.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks everybody for joining us. And for checking this out. Please support Nocturnal Breed and Gehenna, please. They both deserve it a lot.
I want to ask this: is there a chance that we'll get a fourth chapter in the Gehenna saga?
Okay.
Can we go?
I was trying not to ask that question, actually. He's gone. We lost him.
The feed has stopped. Sorry.
No, we have no dates. We have nothing fully on plan. But of course, it's inspiring to put it like that, to just play together and to be in this magical kind of atmosphere that we created together, and that inspires other things. So of course there's little thoughts about stuff, but I think it's more on our individual kind of places by now. But as a personal dream, of course, I would love to manage to take this feeling and that we have with this special band and kind of take it further. So
I think a
Yeah.
lot of people would be happy. I mean, I know that's not the end all say all, but it would, make some metal heads like
yeah,
see
I hear
this
it. I hear
happen.
it through the grapevine. People are kind of pushing and asking, and so that's very nice. That people are still
Yeah.
interested in it. So I appreciate that, and we're gonna put our heads together, and we have to see what happens in the occult
Sounds good.
mists of the band.
That would be great. I mean, I'd love that, but I know it's going to just take the time it takes if it happens.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you want to do it right or not at
yeah.
all.
Well, it
So
has to be completely right. It's not gonna be one of those things that people go, "What, really?" No, it's not gonna be.
Yeah.
yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot again for coming on. And
Svartalv from Gehenna and Nocturnal Breed, everybody. Thank you
check
so
them out,
much.
everybody. If you haven't, you're missing out. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Crossing the channel of fire, the wings of the dragon shall carry me high. Skies so dark and cold, no warning to the spirits that grow. Rush toward the raven cause, they silently wait to crush us all. We wait the coming, cast down by lizards, we also crawl. Not the blessed, nor the gifted. Worship the truly all, not the fable. We lords the dogs, we lords the hammer, we lords the swords. We count upon thee, souls of infernal, ghosts of the wicked, spirits of lawless evil, thanks to the lost organ. We come on you, committed souls exhausted. Spent fire on high and low. The raven cause has waited too long.
What is light without dark?